Hey guys, hopefully everyone is doing well. Today's target is to solve this exercise number 5.2. As you know, we have already solved 5.1 and I would like to repeat few matters, and I suggested you in last lecture that we will repeat these factors again and again and again. No matter if how many times we have to repeat, but we will repeat it so that every element related to this chapter should be in your mind very strongly. The first thing we have discussed was your fixed FH, and what we have discussed fixed cost, and we have discussed there is a cost in any manufacturing concern which will never be altered. You are manufacturing for 20 units, you are manufacturing 30 units, 40 units, 4,000 units, that cost would be same. If you have 20 workers, 40 workers, 30 workers, 3,000 workers, that cost would be same. If you are working 1 day, 2 day in a month, or you are working for 15 days in a month, or you are working for full month, or even if you are not working at all in whole month, that cost would be same. The example which we have discussed was rent of factory. As you know that if you are working in the factory area or a factory building for 1 day or 30 days, your rent would be same. If today instead of 100 workers only 20-30 workers are present, even then you will have to pay fixed rent. You are manufacturing 1000 number of unit or 500 unit, you will have to pay fixed amount of rent. It means rent would be considered as your fixed cost. Then we have seen variable cost, with which what we have discussed, it is the cost which is purely associated with level of production, a cost which will increase, decrease according to level of production. It would not be fixed. That means if two workers are working, the cost would be different as compared to a time when four workers are working. If you are working 10 days in a month, the cost would be different as compared to the cost of working 20-30 days. So it entirely depends on level of production. If you will increase your level of sale or production, this cost will increase. If you will decrease your level of sale, cost will decrease. Example what we have seen was electricity bill, and obviously if you are working 1 day in a month, then electricity bill would be different as compared to a time when you will be working 20 days in a month. Your bill will be increased. So it entirely depends upon the level of production. So second matter which we have discussed was variable cost, and then the third matter was total cost. And how do you calculate total cost? By adding your fixed cost in your variable cost. So that means if you will sum up fixed and variable cost, you will get your total cost. Then we have discussed contribution margin. And how do you calculate contribution margin? By subtracting your variable cost from sales. So on calculator, what you will write? Sale and then sign of subtraction, and you will subtract your variable cost from sales, with which you will get contribution margin. And then you have seen per unit contribution margin. For that purpose, you will use the same formula which is written above, sale minus variable cost, except what you will do, sale, but you will use per unit, and then you will subtract cost, but again per unit. Alright, this was your contribution margin per unit. And next you have seen contribution margin ratio. And how do you calculate it? By dividing contribution margin upon sales. So this way you will be able to calculate your contribution margin ratio. And then we have discussed break even point, and I'm very hopeful that you have everything in your mind. Break even point, but in terms of units. For that break even point, you will see what is fixed cost, and you will divide this fixed cost upon contribution margin per unit. And that contribution margin you have calculated right above of this line. Let me change its size so that it should be visible for you clearly. So here, break-even point in terms of unit, how did you calculate it? Fixed cost divided by CM per unit. And this is your CM per unit. CM for contribution margin. So per unit CGM you have calculated over here. You will use same per unit and will divide your fixed cost by CM per unit. And then you need to have break even point, but in terms of dollar. So in terms of dollar, how would you calculate? In terms of dollar or amount, it may be called. For that, you will be dividing fixed cost by CM ratio. And CM ratio you have calculated over here. So these are two types of calculation: per unit CM and CM ratio. Per unit CM will be used to calculate break-even point in terms of units, and CM ratio will be used to calculate break-even point in terms of amount. No matter if it is directly associated with this exercise 5.2 or not, but I am requesting you to please repeat these factors. These 8-9 factors are very important. Repeat them and make your mind clearly about that. Okay, come to our question now. In our question, what is being discussed, you will have to see. Okay, enterprise distributes a single product whose selling price is 36 and whose variable cost is this. The company's monthly fixed expenses are 12,000. Prepare a cost volume profit graph, sale level 2000, and break even point unit sales. This is your break even point in terms of units. So you can calculate directly, but what is he saying? To prepare cost volume graph and use this graph. Look at there. Use this graph to calculate your break even point. For that purpose, what do you need is the first thing you will write over here units. With these units, you will calculate your sale price. Okay. And then you will calculate your total cost. And total cost comes by adding two things. Look over here. Total cost comes by adding fixed cost and variable cost. So what you will do, you will calculate fixed cost and then you will calculate variable cost. You will add it to make total cost. Okay, let it be set according to your requirement. First column was sale, and then you need to have some space for your fixed cost, and then variable cost, and finally total cost. Okay, since he is saying to make a graph for 2000 units, so few units we will take which are less than 2000 and few units we will take which are more than 2000. It is the method of making graph. Right now we will be related with these sort of things, and we are well familiar with everything present over here, and you will come to know how to do this graph. Okay, so what I had said, 2000 number of unit is his requirement. So we will use some number of units which would be less than 2000 and some number of units which would be more than 2000. So we can start our graph with 500 number of units. Size is important and we are going to change its size as well. Visibility should be according to your requirement. I mean, you must have its proper view. All right, now here we are going to see. Okay, we were here. Number of units you have sold was 500, and let me know how to calculate the sale price. Here I'm just fixing little more time would be taken. Okay. Sale price is given in your question, that is 36. So how would you calculate the sale price if number of units are 500? Every unit is being sold for 36. We can write sale price per unit over here so that you can come to know sale price per unit. All right. So let me know how you will calculate your sale price if number of units are 500. So if one unit you are selling for 36, how much amount you will get to sell 500? So simply you will multiply 500 number of units with 36 as your sale price. So total sale price had become 18,000. Fixed cost. Come to the question and here read it down. Fixed expenses are 12,000, which is given. So you will write over here 12,000, and next you will be calculating your variable cost. For that purpose, it is given in the question variable expenses 24. So how you will calculate variable cost for 500 number of units? If for one unit 24 is cost, how much cost would be for 500? You will multiply 500 with 24, and this way you have calculated your variable cost. And finally, you will be calculating your total cost. And how do you calculate total cost? By adding fixed and variable. And we have seen how to calculate your total cost. Now look at there. Fixed cost plus variable cost. So here fixed cost was 12,000, and you will add variable cost which was also 12,000 to put over here. You will get your, how did we calculate variable cost? 500 multiplied by 24. 24 was your, okay, that's great. So now these are two columns which would be important for you. Total cost, we are highlighting it, and you will also be highlighting it. And second is your sale. If you want to know your break-even point, you will calculate this break-even point uh, with the help of graph. Let's calculate break-even point first directly. Break-even point in terms of units. How would you calculate it? We have already understood the formula, and I'm just asking you to repeat the formula. You will be in need to have fixed cost, and then you will divide it by per unit CM. We will be calculating break even point in just two steps. It would be very easy, but since our requirement is different, he is asking us to calculate break even point through a graph. Okay, this method which we were following over here was the method of creating graph, and this is the simplest way to calculate break even number of unit. And now just go upward and see CM per unit. How would you calculate? This is your contribution margin per unit, with which sale per unit minus cost per unit. Now here first process would be CM per unit. And how would you calculate it? Sale per unit, and you will subtract cost per unit. Now sale per unit is given over here 36, put over here, and then you will subtract cost per unit, which is given 24, its variable cost. So 24 would be written over here. Now put it on your calculator. 36 minus 24, you will get 12, and this is your CM per unit. Okay. One part of our formula is completed. Here was your formula for the break even. For that you need fixed cost, and it would be divided by CM per unit. CM per unit we have calculated, and now we are going to apply this formula. Okay, so here fixed cost. Come to the question. 12,000 was the fixed cost. Put 12,000, and it would be divided by CM per unit, and CM per unit we have calculated is 12. Put over here, and this way you will apply this on your calculator as well. Let me change the size so to improve your visibility. Put this amount on your calculator is equal to 12,000, and that would be divided by 12. So 1000 is your break even point according to number of unit. Now please understand, we have calculated 1000 as break even point. Look at this answer, he's written 1000 over here. Our problem has been sorted out. But please try to understand, he is not asking to apply the formula. This was your break even point formula according to number of unit. Fixed cost was to be divided by CM per unit. You have done it and calculated the break even point. But now please understand, he is not asking to apply the formula. He is saying to apply the graph. For graph, you will have to do these sort of things. You will choose some number of unit which is less than the given number of units, and some units will be more than that of 2000. So what we have done, 5000 number of unit, 500 units we have chosen. And what actually break even point is, where your cost is equal to your revenue. This highlighted area is your revenue, and this highlighted area is cost. You will be choosing those number of units with which your revenue, means this part, would be equal to this part. Right now your sale is 18,000 and cost is 24,000, which is unfavorable. We are on a target where your sale price exactly equalizes to your total cost. So let's put 1000 number of units over here. For sale, what you will do, one unit is being sold for 36. So how much amount you will get by selling 1000 number of units? For this you will write 1000 and will multiply it by per unit 36. This would be your sale price when you are selling 1000 number of units. What would be the fixed cost? Let me know. While making 500 units, your fixed cost was 12,000. When you are making 1000 number of units, your cost will increase or decrease. I'm very hopeful some of you will give the right answer. It's fixed cost. It will not be altered whether you are making 500 number of unit or 1000 number of unit. It would be same. So you will write 12,000, same number of units. Variable cost, per unit variable cost was mentioned as 24, and we should have right over here. Per unit cost was 24 per unit. All right. So let's make more space for it. Variable cost was 24 per unit, and now calculate its cost. If 24 was cost of one unit, how much cost would be for 1000? So you will multiply 1000 with 24. Your cost has arrived over here. Now I'm repeating one more thing. Break even point is needed to be calculated through graph, and we are making inputs of graph over here. and kindly note it down when we will achieve our break even point. When this highlighted area, this is your revenue. When this highlighted area would be equal to this cost. When your cost is equal to your sale, that would be break even point. So if our cost at the time of 500 number of unit, cost was 24,000, sale was 18,000, it was not equalized. We are searching for the point where your cost is equal to your sale price. Total cost we are going to calculate, and how it would be calculated by adding fixed and variable cost. Your fixed cost was 12,000, and then you will add your variable cost, that is 24,000. That's great, 36,000 has arrived and we have achieved our break even point. How? What I was saying, your sale price, if it is equal to your cost, here is your cost and we will be highlighting it. If your cost was 36,000, then your sale price is also 36,000. So 1000 are the number of units which representing the break even number of units. We have already calculated through formula, but to follow our question we need to have a graph. For graph you need to make these sort of inputs, and we now confirmed it that when number of units are 1000, sale price and cost price would be equalized. So it has been proved that thousands are the break even number of units. And since he is saying to make graph up to the limit of 2000, so we will make another line for 2000 number of units. We will calculate both cost and sale price. And here method would be same. 36 is the sale price of single unit. So how much amount you will get when you are selling 2000 number of units? For that you will be multiplying 2000 with 36. So this way you will get your sale price. It's time to calculate your fixed effort. Now again, question for you is, when you were making 500 unit, cost was 12,000. How much fixed cost will increase when you are making 2000 number of units? Some of you will give correct answer. As it is fixed cost, it would never be altered, and same 12,000 you will be writing even when you are manufacturing 2000 number of units. Variable cost, yes, it would be changed. For 1 unit, variable cost is 24. For 2000 number of units, how much that cost would be? For that, we will multiply 2000 number of units with 24 per unit cost. We have got our variable cost as well. It's time to calculate our total cost. How you will calculate your total cost? By adding fixed and variable. So fixed cost was 12,000, and you will add variable cost which was 48,000. So here you have got your total cost, and now it's your responsibility to make the graph. I will show you what you will be doing for your graph. For the time being, we are going to make some space over here. What I had said, it's your responsibility to make the graph. I will show you just the way and you will complete it. In this way, okay. There are two axes on any graph, as you know. We have y-axis. It would be y-axis, all right. It would be like this, and then you have on horizontal side, you will have x-axis, and you are going to put like this. On x-axis, you will put number of units. These are 500. So you will be making 500 table. Since they are equalized, so first line would be used to write 500. The next line 1000, and the next line would be used 1500, and then you will have 2000. Okay. On y-axis, you will put both sale and cost. Minimum sale is 18,000 and minimum cost is 24,000. So you may use 10,000 over here, table of 10,000. First 10,000 and then 20,000. Next 30,000. I need to have maximum 72,000. So 10, 20, 30, 40. Now we should be having space over here. So 20,000 next line, then 30,000, then 40,000, 50,000 we will go when we will get the maximum, and the maximum is 72,000. So you will be writing 60,000 over here and then 70,000, 2,000 is difference and you will write 80,000 for the next. So this is the way of making graph. Let's change its size, and its direction was also been altered. Change it. Okay, hopefully you have understood. Upon your copy you will make y-axis like this, and you will make x-axis like this, and you will put number of units on x-axis and both sale price and cost price. This is your sale price and cost price would be put over here. And finally what will happen? You will see 500 number of unit and sale price 18,000. 500 is here and 18,000 is here. So you will put a small point at this place. And then you will see 1,000 and 36,000. 1,000 is here and 36,000 would be appear over here. So here you will put a point. I'm not going to make it. It's very easy to put this graph through Excel. I will show you that. Here is insert and these charts are present over here. But I am not going to make it through Excel. It is your responsibility to complete this chart. And finally, I will show you the shape, how it would be. Uh, the look of this chart would be like this. First, you will complete your sale price. The chart would be like this. A straight line would appear over here. It would be just like this. And then you need to put total cost on graph. How? For 500 you need to mark 24,000. This is 500 and first mark would be at 24,000. Let me little handle it. 18,000 would be downward. Okay, like this. So for total cost, what you will see, unit 500 and total cost 24,000. This is your 500 and total cost 24,000. First point would be over here. And then in this way, second line would be drawn and you will see it when you will complete upon your copy. The second line of cost will appear exactly like this. And kindly note this point where cost and sale price are intersecting each other. The point where sale and cost is intersecting each other, it would be exactly upon 1000. It would be exactly upon 1000. So this is your graph with which you can calculate your break even point. The point where cost and sale price are intersecting, this point would be called break even point. And since your cost was more, so this point would be called your cost and this is your sale. Alright, that's all. This was our questions target. and question was about to calculate break-even point through graph. You will make this graph and will get this point, and this point would be considered as your break-even point. And that was our target, and you will see this would exactly at upper side of 1000. This was 1000 and same cross will be present beside 1000, and this is unnecessary to be calculated. I have just shown you break even point is so easy to calculate through formula, but our requirement of question was not to calculate break even point through formula, rather through graph. So we have created inputs of graph at first step, and then we will draw this graph like this, and you are now needed to complete this question, and when we will meet again you will show me this graph and you will show me this input. So question number 2 was not very much technical. It was basically to complete our calculations through graphs. Hopefully you people have understood everything regarding this, but even after this much time, if you need to ask any question, I am very humbly asking you to please, you are very open to ask any question through message, through text, or even you can directly meet to make clarity about the question. Up till now, it's enough. It's time to say goodbye, and we will soon be meeting for the solution of any other question. Today's was 5.2. Up till then, please take care of yourself, and I'm requesting you to pray for me as well. Thank you very much for your time. It's okay. Allah Hafiz.